Hello, welcome back to the potty. Money hacks with Kim Kent. I got my paper money here, woo, flashing it around. I am so freaking pumped to be here and talk about this topic. I'm going to probably say this every single time I get on here because I love every single topic when it comes to money. But let's talk about debt. Let's talk about debt. And we're probably going to talk about debt a lot in the future as well. But look, debt is not a dirty word. Debt is not a dirty word. So let's have a little chat around debt. And this is something that I dive into a lot inside the Wealthy as Fuck program with clients who have gotten themselves into debt and feel like they're trapped. And one of their biggest goals is to clear the debt, so on and so forth. And like I have a beautiful training around debt mentality and how to handle debt and all those things. And what I'm sharing with you is things that I have learned from other coaches and people who have inspired me with their story and their mindset and their philosophy around money. And it just makes sense. And to paint a bit of a picture with this is I've grown up when I started to be an adult and fend for myself, which was pretty much as of 18 when I moved out of home. I still worked and paid my way, but I wasn't in debt necessarily then. But when I could get my first credit card, got that, maxed that out straight away. I've always had a level of debt. I've always had a level of spending more before I actually earned it. So yeah, I had red, what is it? Red, I was in the red zone. So what is debt? Debt is when you use money that is not yours to acquire something you want now, and then you're going to pay it off over time. So debt is really a way for us to get what we want now, but we don't have to use the money that we have now, or probably because we don't have the money that we have now. And the thing is, we get what we want. We get what we acquire from whatever put us into debt. So maybe it's a new car, maybe it's a holiday, maybe it's just you got the credit card and you just love to shop based off your own shitty money behaviors, poor money behaviors, so on and so forth. Whatever it might be, you want to buy the house, so you get a mortgage, that's a debt. And the thing is, I've got my coffee in my hand. I'm like, I need to actually sip the coffee. The thing is, what happens is we're like, we want this now. We want this thing now. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use a car because it's actually a perfect example, because a vehicle, there is a gray area along the lines of want versus need, right? Because there's a level of need transportation and a level of want a nice car, because there's other ways of transportation. Anyway, then there comes the convenience of it and so on and so forth. So it's a really good example, because some of you listening might be like, but I need a car. It's an absolute necessity. And some of you are like, you know what? I want a new car now, but really, like, I could just take public transport. I could organize rides with other people, like whatever it might be. But the thing is with debt, okay, we want the new car. It's $20,000. I'm just ballparking random number here, right? You don't have $20,000 ready to go to buy the car, but you want the car now, or you're telling yourself you need the car now, and there'd be justifications as why, like absolute, like worthy justifications of why you need the car now. So what you do is like, I'm going to put it on finance, or I'm going to take out a loan to pay it. And what happens is, yay, we get the car, woohoo! And you got the car, feels so nice to drive, whatever car it is you got, like there's adding major convenience to your life, all the things. And a few months down the track, or even 12 months down the track, because you don't usually with car finance, it's over quite a few years, stereotypically. And then you start to resent the debt. You're like, fuck, I'm in debt. I've got these car repayments happening every month. Fuck, they're so, what's the word? Inconvenient to my life. And like you create this icky energy around this debt. And you're like, fuck, life would be so much better if I could just pay off my car loan, or if I wasn't in debt to this, and blah, 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 blah. And you might even go down the track of, like I shouldn't have got I didn't need the $20,000 car. I didn't need the $50,000 car. I could have just done with something more simple, or whatever the bullshit that's going on in your brain. around it. But the thing is, then we become a victim to the debt, right? And I speak from experience. Whenever we have, or if you have any kind of resentment around debt, whether it's to the car, whether it's for a course you did that you're paying off later, whether it's a purchase, whatever, credit card debt, or from little things, or a holiday, or whatever it is. Maybe you have a mortgage and you're like hating on paying your mortgage every single month, right? You have this resentment around it, or whatever. The reality is you created that. Like, you made a decision to do that. No one forced your hand. Okay. And of course, everything is circumstantial, but if you're being in your victim mode, you will find a reason to make your circumstance different and justified compared to other people's. But the reality is, if you're hating on the debt that you have, past you in the past made a decision that put you to where you are there. So first of all, understanding that you created the debt because you wanted something now, but you didn't have all the money now to pay it off. So you chose to pay it off. You chose for your future self to pay it off. So when we step into responsibility of, like, that's just an action that I took and a step that I made and a decision that I made. So I'm going to take absolute responsibility of it. And it is my problem. I'm not going to be a victim of it, because when you're in the victim energy, you're in the woe is me, poor me. That's very low vibration, very poverty mentality. And what you think about, what you believe about is what you bring about. And you'll just keep attracting in what I call opportunities, not challenges. Everything in life is an opportunity for you to stay feeling that way. So step one, acknowledge that whatever debt you're in right now was based off some kind of choice that had to be made. The only way to break yourself free energetically and emotionally from this debt is for you to take radical responsibility for it. Even if, look, I know this is already straight into like controversial topics. Like, even if you've gone through a separation and your ex has left you with this debt, you can choose to blame him. But the fact of the matter is, if you're in it, like, you chose to be in a relationship with him or her. I say him because I am married to a male, and it's how it is for me. So that's my go-to example. But can you see how, if you think about it, you chose to get into that relationship. Obviously, you didn't think that it would end up in a separation or whatever. But the only way for true freedom, for you to break free from feeling trapped by this debt, is for you to take responsibility for it going forward. So then then to layer on top of that, debt is just how you look at it, right? Debt just has the meaning you choose to create on it. So if you think debt is bad, you're just going to keep living this shit experience being in debt. But as I said, debt is a choice. Debt is a way and a means to get what you want faster than having to save up for it. And the beautiful example with this is buying a house. The majority of us want to buy a house as fast as we can, and the majority of us mortgage it. Like, unless, look, I'm in Perth, Australia, unless you have like a spare $600,000 to $800,000 lying around, or you've saved that up, that will get you into a house, and not even a fancy house or a nice house, unless you are like what we call living out bush or in the sticks. Definitely not CBD vibes, central, vibes. But unless you just have 600 grand to 800 grand that you're ready, like that's in the bank, that you're ready to buy a house, you're going to mortgage it. You're going to loan it from the bank. And the thing is, if you would much rather own your own home, or at least mortgage it and pay it off than rent, how incredible that you can use debt as a tool and a strategy to get into the house earlier, and not, like, maybe it might actually take you 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Again, it's circumstantial on your earnings and how you manage your money, but it might take you half a decade to another decade to be able to buy a house outright, or pay half a deposit down, like pay 50% deposit, whatever it might be. So that, what I'm trying to say here is, like, I'm a homeowner. I have a mortgage. I owe the bank a few $100,000. Does it bother me? No. Would I rather have a mortgage than rent? Personally, yes, because it's a way and a means for me to get into my own home now and pay it off and then leverage it. And that debt that I just look at the debt to the bank is, every time I pay my repayment, that cash is just going into my home. So I'm not losing the cash. It's going into the equity of my home, right? It's going into the brick and mortar. So it really is a mentality. And I share this because I have family members, I have friends who freak out every time there's an interest rate rise. Every time, like they're freaking out, I've got to pay my mortgage. And I'm like in my head, but you chose to buy a house. You chose to do that. And they're hating on the fact that they have to pay a mortgage. And I think it's a really, really fucking good reality check. And I mean this with the absolute most love, right? If you have a mortgage right now and you fucking hate paying your mortgage and you're hating on the banks for doing it, like, how entitled are you to think that you can get a home loan, and then like your mortgage disappears? Like, the banks have lent you money to be able to buy your own home. And do you know what? Yes, there's interest rates because it's how it works. And yes, we can blame the government and the economy and all the bullshit, like, oh, interest rates are rising, inflation, and the banks just want more money. It's out of our control. But if we change the mindset of, which I love that I'm like on path, but then I hit the tangent, or I hate that, like my brain, I have a brain fart. There'll be a lot of those throughout the episodes. But like, what was I saying with that? Who are we to think it was around? Yeah, like, how amazing, right? How amazing is it that we have banks that will loan us hundreds of thousands of dollars so we can get into our first home or start building our property portfolio? Like, how freaking cool that we have that opportunity. And that's the mentality that you want to have if you want to build wealth, if you want to create more abundance and break free from the chains of scarcity and poverty and feeling trapped. So debt is not a dirty word, right? Debt is just a strategy. And then how you choose to play that strategy will determine how you feel about money, the situation you get yourself in. So then going from there, it's like, and this is what we create and we coach on inside the program. So, you know, because everyone's debt strategy, it's different, and there's different, as I was saying, there's different ways to go about it. I'm not encouraging you to go borrow other people's money, which is debt, right? You're borrowing other people's money, wherever that may come from, and go and get into debt with all these different people and places just to get what you want now. Because if you can't handle the repayments and paying your future self, your future self paying your past self back, if that makes sense. If you actually can't manage it and handle it, then you're going to dig that really deep hole that you can't fucking get out of. So you have to be smart about it. You have to be in a mentality where, like, a higher level of consciousness, where you can make these decisions knowing that it's all part of the bigger strategy and it's not going to weigh you down, and it's not going to be a bad thing. So I guess there's a lot of food for thought in this episode, and there's so much, again, that we can go into it. And honestly, feel free to reach out, DM me on Instagram. It's Kim Kent _. I'll always have my socials and links in the show notes. But reach out to me and you can ask any questions you like. You can share your opinion. You could be like, hey, can you talk more about this on an episode? Because I can deep dive into all of it. And I absolutely love deep diving. But I also don't want to burn your brains and blow them up and make them spaghetti. Like, you leave this episode and you're like, holy shit, my brain is just like thinking about things so differently. But that's my little bit of my take on debt, and how debt is not a dirty word. It's just what you create of it and how you use debt. And I'll finish with this. Like, we grow up, when we're kids, we get conditioned to believe what's right or wrong with everything in life. So when it comes to money, we're learning that debt is bad. But what we're seeing is everyone in our life in some kind of debt. And there's all these opportunities to create debt to get what you want now, and all the marketing and advertising. And like, at the end of the day, it's just a meaning that's created on it. And we get to change the meaning of things all the time. So we can change how we view debt. And if you want to be the wealthiest fuck version of you, and if you don't want to be weighed down and tied down and trapped by debt, you have to change your relationship with it. You have to change the meaning of how you view debt. You have to improve your strategy. You have to heal, like, what strategy is not working for you right now? Okay, how can you change it to make it work for you? And I'm not encouraging you all to go out and get into debt, right? And there's so many people out there that say, clear your debt. But you'll also see so many people out there, millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, using other people's money to invest and make more money, and using debt as a strategy to get ahead and then paying it back. But it's all part of the strategy. So I actually would love to encourage you to really look at your own personal situation with debt. and your own relationship with it, and not just think, oh, well, this is how Kim does it, I should do it that way, or this is how so-and-so does it, I should look at it that way, or this person says you should never be in debt. You know, like I would straight away be like, yeah, but what if I wanted to invest and build another property and start building my property portfolio? I know right now, like my strategy would be, what can I loan out to get that happening? And then the people who would be renting the property would be paying back the loan. So it's all part of the strategy. Again, that's just one example. So as I was saying, I really empower you to look at your situation and like, what do you want? First of all, take responsibility of where you're at right now. Take responsibility of the debt that you're in right now. Then ask yourself, what is the relationship I do want to have? Do I genuinely want to clear all debt? Or maybe these debts I do want to clear, and I'm going to learn from these decisions and choices. It's not a mistake, it's just a decision and choice. Am I going to learn from them because they don't align with the wealth goals that I have now? Or what does work for me? And look, of course, if you need help, if you need a fast track your money management, if you want a blueprint that's going to help you manage your money with universal law so you can pay off debt and save and cover everything and not feel so trapped with your finances, I encourage you to apply for Wealthy as Fuck and see if you're a fit for the program and how it can support you. Of course, I'm always going to recommend it every single time I chat on here. It is my baby. It is my life's work in there, and it is changing hundreds, if not thousands. We have over 100 beautiful clients in there at the moment, but with all the free stuff that I do, we've impacted thousands of lives and giving the tools and the strategies and the mindset and the hacks to genuinely improve their relationship with money so they never have to worry. And I'd love that for you as well. And I know that's why you're listening. So, you know, you can learn more at www.wealthyaf.com.au. Link is in the show notes. Connect with me on socials. Go check it out. Share this episode. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know if you agree. I'd love to know if you disagree, because I'm not saying I'm right. This is just a way, that's a really beautiful way to look at it. And yeah, I will chat to you on the next episode.